Is it just me, or is all of this red pill, every color kind of Skittle colored pill is getting kind of annoying? Um, and maybe it's the algorithm that's pissing me off and not really the content. Maybe I'm just being shown it because I've watched it. And you watch something and I say, oh, okay, you watch that, maybe you want to see more. But it has gotten such that I can't even enjoy my normal YouTube without it popping up so much. Even if you say don't recommend it, it comes up. Just something that I was always told as a kid, right? Too much of any one thing isn't good for you. And, too much, too many apples, too much water, even too much water, which I didn't know until a few years back that you can get water poisoning. That's not the technical term for it, but you can have too much water. And water, as we all know, is good for you. But it's like I fear for impressionable people, right? So, what I mean by impressionable people, there are a lot of young men and young women who don't understand how to consume certain things and then take the parts that are good for you and leave the rest, or know how to shut off once they realize that it may be detrimental to you, right? There's a lot of people that are super impressionable, so that they when they keep consuming this content and they see other people that agree with them, that they stay focused on that one thing versus branching out. And there's nothing wrong with finding like-minded individuals, people to think like you, people that move like you and behave like you. I think that's good. You surround yourself with some people like that, but you also want to have a couple of people around you that do think differently, right? That do have different opinions. So you always have somebody to bounce ideas off of, somebody who can see things from a different perspective, and somebody who can also benefit from seeing your perspective, right? But a lot of what I'm seeing is like the same type of message, just regurgitated, or the same type of message with their own spin on it. So you have those two different things. Uh, but neither of them are beneficial if that's all you consume and if that's all you see, or if you don't have the mind frame to be able to say, okay, I agree with point A and B, but maybe not C or D. And E kind of is relevant, or E is relevant to some people, but not me. As long as if you don't have the ability to pick through things like that, then it can be super detrimental to yourself. And I'm finding that a lot of the stuff doesn't seem to be presented in a way that's balanced enough for audiences to be able to differentiate um, the good from the bad message, right? So you'll have a lot of people saying uh, negative, 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 then they'll throw in a positive here or there, but a lot of it is negative, negative, negative. And so much so that I believe that a lot of people are becoming jaded, a lot of people are becoming cold, and a lot of people aren't able to see the other side of the coin. And I wish that there was more representation of the other side of the coin. And I think that there are some valid points to why that isn't shown. That we've become such a society of coddling and uh, trophies for losing and a whole bunch of easy street stuff, that it seems like the course correction is to be totally in the opposite direction, right? But that rarely ever works, to where you just headlong go in the opposite direction and don't have a balance. Not having a balance is what got us here. So not having a balance in the opposite direction isn't beneficial either. You see what I'm saying? It's just going to create a different monster, but in the opposite direction. So what we need is a balanced approach, and I think there's like a rush to try to course correct. But the rush to course correct, again, like I said, is detrimental. It'll be slower, but better if it was a balance in the opposite direction. Like, listen, you lose, you lose. You try harder the next time, and you know maybe you can win. Or you made bad decisions, and even though you might be ready to correct those bad decisions now, it doesn't guarantee a positive result because there are consequences to bad decisions. Um, but here are some tips to try to help you along the way. But don't be disgruntled if they don't manifest the thing that you're looking for, because you have to take into account all the things that you did to get to where you are. Um, you know, Understanding and validating other options and other, maybe not options, but the making sure that the validity is there, that there are good people, there are good things out there. And it's just like, I hear brothers talking about, or men, you don't have to be brothers, but I hear men talking about how to it's real popular for men to talk about how to score with women and how to sleep with as many women as possible. And I don't see how that's helpful other than getting a nut. Listen, I love sex as much as, if not more than anybody. You, a porn star, I love sex, especially head. So I don't want to get sidetracked here. I'm sorry I even mentioned it. But there's like the whole thing: how to score, how to score, how to score. And then they'll be talking about trying to get a wife. If you're just trying to score, that's not the right way for you to try to get a wife. Or how women are, you know, uh, what's the common theme? Women aren't really making themselves marriage material by certain behaviors. Okay, but then they're not talking about the ones that are. They will describe, however, what they believe a good woman could be and what a good man could be, but there's really not a whole lot of representation for that fact, right? So they show you all the bad seeds, they show you all the bad guys, all the bad girls, but don't really highlight a lot of the good ones. And I think that that ends up being detrimental as well, right? If you don't have a whole lot of good examples of what a good person is, guy or girl, how then do you find it? Okay, you know now how to avoid the bad ones because you've given tons of examples about that, but you're not showing a whole lot of examples of the good ones. And I say good ones with a caveat because a lot of times what's good to one person isn't good to another, right? We have the cooking and cleaning stereotype, but some people don't care about that. You have the being good with raising your children, but some people don't care about that. The message needs to be tailored to understand that what's good for you might not be good for somebody else, and what's bad for you might not be bad for somebody else. Excuse me. That balance has to be made and has to be understood. And showing good examples of both men and women have to be understood as well, so that you can see what to avoid, but also what to go towards, and that you have an understanding that both are out there. I have to concede that it seems like, because the way society is, there's a whole lot more bad seeds than good on both guys and girls. Uh, but that doesn't mean that there's no hope, and that doesn't mean that we can't still course correct. It doesn't mean that we can't come with a next generation if this one is too far gone and they're past marrying age, or the age where people want to get together and stay together. hopefully the next generation, the kids, if we can get them on board and start over, start teaching them the right way to go, the right way to think, because they're running into seeing all of this stuff. They're on this YouTube and they're on social media more than anybody. And all they see is us talking about how women are crap, how men are crap, how uh, materialistic things and all this other stuff. And all they're giving is bad examples. They just have a ton of bad examples. We need more good examples. I'm not saying I'm one. I'm more of a person who just wants to put different perspectives out there and have people think and have people um, try to understand that there's not one perfect way to do things. There's not one way to have your marriage set up. There's not one way to have your dating and relationship set up. There's not one way to express yourself. You know, I think my only key consistent message is that whatever you do, if it knowingly causes harm, mental, physical, financial, um, it was another one I can't think of, harm to a person, then you're doing it wrong. We shouldn't be trying to harm each other for our gain, right? That's probably my only consistent thing. If you're not harming somebody intentionally, and if you do, you apologize for doing it and behave differently, knowing that you hurt somebody. I think that the possibilities are endless for how you could behave or how you could uh, have a successful relationship and have successful interactions with the opposite sex. It's like you don't have to be bottled down to one concept. Pick and choose what's right for you, and then your next goal is to try to find somebody who agrees with that or agrees with the majority of that, right? If you continue to look for someone who agrees with 100% of what you say, you're going to keep looking. It's going to be a hard time trying to find what you want. Not to say you can't find it, because I don't know. I haven't tried to find the one that agrees with me 100%. I highly doubt, as much foolishness as I get into, I highly doubt there's a person who agrees with 100% of what I have to say. But I mean, look, the Blur, she don't agree with everything I have to say. Maybe 80%, 75, 80%, depending on how foolish I'm getting. But that's good enough for me. I can be completely happy with that 80%. I don't need to get 90. I don't need to get 99. 80% is straight. Because all I'm going to do, right, is burn my time years and months and years and whatever amount of time trying to find that other one when I can be happy with 80% agreeing with me, because trust me, I'm sure she knows that I don't agree with 100% of the stuff she's saying, because I'll be like, she be talking and I'll be like, no. Sometimes I'm just like, no, that's not gonna fly. But there's a lot of times where I agree, or I'm with her, I'm behind her. I doubt highly that anybody would agree with 100% of what she's saying. So she got a good deal. I agree with a ton. And I think that's another key dynamic to relationships. If we can get to a point where we understand that nobody's perfect and that we are going to disagree, as long as we disagree without being disagreeable, uh, things could be fine. Things could be so much better. But just think about that. Think about maybe not consuming as much negative content and seeking out positive content. I know I am. I'm out there looking. I'm scouring because I want to see uh, more positive stuff and align myself to where I can enjoy content from both sides of the fence. Hear about the bad stuff that's going on so I can avoid the landmines, and then also hear about the good stuff, because you know what? The Blur and I, we could use a nice little addition to the group, or I could. She might not like her, but I do. But I will. She gonna beat me up for this one. But hey, I'm saying what I'm saying. if you see some hands come through and choke me, or she run around the corner and beat me up, you know what happened. That's one of the times where it ain't 80% agreeing with me.